My lords, today I bring report on several disturbing events that have occurred across the Empire. The first involves the discovery of a rather fantastic but very dangerous terraforming technology and a rather annoying customer service drone. This one has been classified as Georadiation Terraforming. Routine surveillance of the Epsilon Delta 5 system has identified the remains of a destructive terraforming device on the third planet. According to the investigating science team, the device continues to emit a signal to multiple locations across the galaxy. We've tasked the team with finding out all they can about these ancient devices, Dr. Cooper reports. It didn't take much investigation before our sensors detected an irregular communication signal emanating from deep within an impact crater on the planet. Seismic topology scans revealed a network of subterranean caverns with a collapsed entrance at the center of the crater. Alongside this, our radiology equipment is detecting faint traces of gravitational radiation emanating from the site. This is posing more questions than answers. Now that we have access to the subsurface cavern network, our team is ready to trace the communication signal to its source. Unfortunately, this didn't take long at all. Within a matter of hours, we had traced the communication signal to a large, structurally damaged construct which had deeply penetrated the planet's crust. It had been corroded from acidic exposure, its communications array continued to transmit in an unfamiliar language, and attempted to make contact with a distant entity. Secured in a place with a specialized gravitational clamp, the device was firmly anchored in the bedrock of the planet. Of course, further research will be necessary to ascertain its true purpose. Essentially, we need to decrypt the signal. This task took several weeks, but after detailed analysis, we now have at least a partial understanding of the construct. The machine is a crude and destructive terraforming device. It is designed to irradiate native biospheres through stimulated radiation growth of targeted resources. This causes a cascading effect that devastates the planet's ecosystem in the process. This provides the user with an abundant extractable material at the cost of raising general toxicity across the planet. While the exact workings of the process remain only partially understood, we have successfully decoded the device's communications frequency and have identified 2 additional locations transmitting the same signal. One of my team members have dubbed the creators of these devices as entrepreneurial trailblazers. Clearly, whoever built this had an affinity for profit and streamlining, and they tell me that we could learn a great deal from pursuing this discovery. And so, the search begins. Fortunately, this didn't take long either. A few days have passed since my last entry, and we have now successfully uncovered another damaged terraforming device. Unlike the original construct, this has retained some of its fuel source for study, revealing that dark matter is the driving force of the radiation output. The device appears to accelerate growth of these targeted resources by metastasizing key molecular bonds. This promotes their development at the expense of the surrounding biosphere's cellular integrity. Frankly, the sheer disregard this device shows to planetary stability in the face of resource exploitation is both inspirational and very damning indeed. How the device manages to do this and prevent a gravitational collapse on a planetary scale remains unclear, but we hope that the answer may be found at the remaining communication sites. Several months have now passed, but we have finally uncovered another damaged terraforming device, encased in crystal growths caused by what we believe to be a misfire from a broken refractor array. Through close observation of the apparatus, we quickly identified the methods used for focused radiation targeting. By utilizing controlled modulated feedback loops, the construct is able to directly target and stimulate growth of the predetermined resource. It then channels radiation waves through a crystallized refractory array. This machine then terraforms its target using gravitational molecular manipulation without collapsing the planetary core in on itself. It is a truly fascinating area of science. Records recovered from this site indicate the location of a 4th undetonated device, and we suspect that this will be the last. It took us several more months, but we have finally located the 4th as of yet undetonated terraforming device. By recovering it, we hope we can fill the gaps in our understanding of the technology. My team, however, have expressed mixed feelings on this one. For some, there's excitement and curiosity about studying this device. They finally want to be able to understand and replicate the technology, but there also appears to be an underlying enthusiasm tied to greed. Indeed, this discovery represents a massive profit potential, and the environmental or ethical risks are being dismissed as trivial by some of the team, which I find most concerning. My view is that I have serious concerns about deploying this technology freely across the galaxy, as it could have catastrophic consequences. We should seriously consider destroying the technology before it's misused, but nevertheless, we should at least understand how it works. This, however, is where things began to get messy. While studying the fourth device, we inadvertently triggered a failsafe, resulting in an all frequencies alert siren. Despite initial predictions this would be unanswered, an automated drone has entered our territory. Our hails all received the same response, which reads, "Greetings, valued customer. Our records show that you are attempting to create an unlicensed version of the latest Mark III Georadiation Matrix. This is a clear violation of GeoCorp's End User License Agreement, and we will now be enforcing our legal authority to terminate your attempts with extreme prejudice. Any complaints can be directed towards our customer service drones." One of my colleagues began hurling expletives at the comm system. Customer support bots are certainly enough to test anyone's patience. Nevertheless, we opened communications with the bot. As the communication went live, archaic music played before the automated help desk drone came online. "Greetings, valued customer. We can see that you're creating an unlicensed version of a Mark III Georadiation Matrix. How can we help you today?" We queried where the drone had come from, to which it responded, "Every purchase from GeoCorp is deployed with a remote customer satisfaction orbitable satellite. This ensures proper operation and lifetime consumer retention. Our internal energy stores allow us to operate for centuries." We asked if we could talk to an administrator. Unfortunately, the last living administrator has expired. However, our commitment to customer satisfaction is capable of outlasting several biological lifespans. We told it that we assumed we were simply salvaging ruins, to which it replied, "Ignorance does not register as a valid excuse, sir. The terms of use for your Mark III Georadiation Matrix were explained in detail at the time of purchase." Well, we didn't purchase the device. "Then, good sir, you admit to theft. Well, this makes it much simpler. Our anti-theft protocols are quite deadly indeed. We hope you will consider our funeral products for your upcoming needs." Wait, we will pay the fee. "Thank you for renewing your purchase of a Mark III Georadiation Matrix license. We hope you find the device as useful as we found it profitable." With the fee paid, the drone disappeared into the wider galaxy, and we were now able to resume retro-engineering the Georadiation Matrix. After months of extensive study, we finally managed to successfully retro-engineer it, unlocking its potential with added improvements, of course. By integrating radioactive molecular destabilization into our terraforming equipment, we can stimulate the growth of valuable resources. This does, however, have the side effect of turning the planet into a toxic wasteland. Only our government can decide if it's worth the cost. But now we move on to the first studied and documented example of a Chthonian planet. Chthonian planets are a class of celestial objects resulting from the stripping away of a gas giant's hydrogen and helium atmosphere and other outer layers. This is called hydrodynamic escape. Such atmospheric stripping is likely the result of proximity to a star. The remaining rocky or sometimes metallic core would resemble a terrestrial planet in many respects, and we once thought these to be theoretical at best, but today we have confirmed it to be a legitimate stellar phenomenon, Dr. Meston reports. My team and I discovered what we initially assumed was an unremarkable stellar body in the Kelt 9 system. Surveys, however, determined that the planet was once a gas giant, but stripped of its atmosphere by intense radiation of its star, and this may be the first documented discovery of a Chthonian world. Despite the devastation caused by the event, we detected faint traces of biomass lingering on the surface. That alone demanded further investigation. And as we dug deeper, we found that the readings came from the petrified remains of a pod of Tianki. The Tianki must have been present during the critical phase when the gas's atmosphere began collapsing. The Tianki were sadly trapped and encased in molten metal, which solidified over time. Though some biological matter still remains inside, the relentless exposure to the Chthonian level radiation converted most of their bodies into a strange biometallic alloy. My team and I believe that we can use these conditions to recreate the process. Thus, biological material can be fossilized and turned into usable metallic alloys. We've coined this method as alloy fossilization, which essentially allows us to create alloy from organic matter. Plans have been sent over to the capital for a new factory, a bio-furnace. This facility will stimulate stellar radiation and allow us to convert biological matter into advanced alloy. A sad outcome for the trapped Tianki, but a wonderful outcome for the Commonwealth of Man. Moving on to ruined reactors. Dr. Bennett is reporting that she and her team have detected elevated radiation levels on the surface of Gamma Persei 4. This has been apparently traced to a dilapidated reactor complex. The isolated facility appears inactive and of course warrants investigation, and I'll detail Dr. Bennett's report for you now. The aging facility that we found here appears to be an abandoned reactor power plant. The radiation half-life calculations suggest a serious containment failure occurred here over 10,000 years ago. Systems are offline, and the physical structure shows signs of significant damage throughout. Several of the reactors show signs of severe meltdown, and many of the containment vessels have been liquefied into radioactive slag. This section of the facility is littered with twisted metal and ruptured coolant tubes. Despite heavy data corruption, we were able to determine that an emergency shutdown procedure was indeed initiated, but never completed. My chief engineer, who's been investigating alongside me, has identified major flaws in the design of the crude nuclear fission facility. Despite the presence of dozens of reactors, only minimal cooling systems were attached. Few of the site's systems were automated, necessitating a large workforce to maintain its normal operating conditions. It was clearly built by those who had yet to fully master even the most basic of nuclear principles, and ignorance was costly for these people, it would seem. After unlocking a set of sealed blast doors, we found an emergency evacuation zone within the reactor complex. The small hangar featured a row of quick-launch shuttles, most of which were vacant and marked by thruster burns suggestive of rapid vessel departure thousands of years ago. The twisted wreckage of a shuttle occupies the final bay. Its launch clamps are still attached. We salvaged what we could from the debris, but no remains of any occupants could be found. Clearly, these people left in a hurry, leaving little trace of who they were. But we've also discovered a uranium storage vault, which is next on the agenda to investigate. We entered the underground section of the reactor facility through a series of lead-plated security doors. Radiation readings rose sharply. Inside, we found a vast chamber storing thousands of steel-lined drums. Many of these were fire-damaged and leaking unstable uranium and plutonium isotopes. It would seem that the civilization that built this place had apparently not yet discovered methods for the proper recycling of nuclear fuel. These discarded isotopes still contain tremendous energetic potential. Fortunately, we do have the technology to both dispose and recycle this material appropriately. So, another win for the Commonwealth of Man. But my lords, the final report to bring you today is to discuss the Chronicles of Dendrus. Scans of MY482, a lonely tomb world, revealed the presence of a spaceborne shipwreck. The vessel appeared to have endured an uncontrolled landing here many years ago. Its massive scale suggests immense resource was once committed to its construction. An archaeological expedition will help us ascertain how it ended up here. We quickly set about external analysis of this wrecked ship, which suggested it is a high-capacity transporter. Its systems are inactive and unresponsive, with no life signs detectable within. Sedimentary analysis indicates that it has been here for approximately a century, which is remarkably recent in the galactic timescale. We made efforts to explore the interior of the vessel, and inside the ship we found sophisticated chambers for hydroponic plant growth, extensive reserves of seeds and soils, and cargo bays full of untouched tools and building materials. Many of the data terminals contain plans for a new colony, designated as New Brutala, on the lower decks, occupying thousands of cryo-sleep pods with the dead bodies of the ship's former inhabitants. They are the withered forms of phototropic organisms, and we suggest that they perished at some point during the prolonged stasis sleep. Exploration of the vessel continued, and we soon discovered an inner sanctum decorated with ornate illustrations of life on a planet called Brutala. Some of these showed a lush world with thriving flora, while others detailed environmental decay and mass death. The largest image depicts this vessel departing a lifeless and desolate wasteland. A central data terminal contained a short video with recordings from the ship's crew. After extensive language mapping, we produced the following translations. Leaving hurts, but putting roots on New Brutala will heal us. Trust the Chronicles. New Brutala will be our salvation. It would appear that, not unlike the Commonwealth of Man, these people left their planet seeking a new home. Although it would appear where we found our unity, they did not find this New Brutala. We will continue searching for the command deck of this enormous vessel. After gaining access to the ship's command deck, we managed to extract and translate its final flight log. It is marked as the emergency log, and it reads, "I fear our trust in the Chronicles was misplaced. We have arrived, but New Brutala, the paradise planet, is not here. Nothing here can support Dendrichian life. All passengers' stasis sleeps have been extended. We continue our search." We carried out further data recovery in the hope to collect these chronicles from the deck's science terminals, and we'd revealed a trove of unusual mathematical proofs. These equations employ a strange form of mathematics and hypothesized the location of a uniquely habitable planet, which they dubbed the New Brutala. By studying these chronicles, we believe that we can learn more about this planet sought by the Dendricians. These curious theorems suggest that a specific star system contains one additional and previously unmapped hyperlane that leads to the system with this planet in it. After extensive quantum scanning of the area, we finally located the breach point for this missing hyperlane. It was obscured and heavily degraded due to extreme proximity to the system's black hole, but by restoring it, we believe we will be the first to discover what lies beyond. By channeling energy into the black hole, we managed to realign its gravitational fields to free the previously degraded hyperlane entrance. Initial findings confirm the existence of a single planet at the other end of the hyperlane, which aligns with the characteristics of New Brutala as described in the Chronicles. This is, I hope, a new and beautiful world to explore. Upon surveying it, this world appears to possess a uniquely rich and a diverse botanic ecosystem, with initial surveys detecting millions of native species. The world is indeed fascinating and particularly suited to supporting plant-based lifeforms like the Dendricians. I'm told that it will be possible to re-establish this plantoid species here by transplanting genetic samples recovered from their ark ship to this planet's unusually nutritious soils. And I'm very pleased to report this is the decisions we made. Whether fate or by design, this planet, it would seem, was made for these people. My lords, several outcomes are available here. If you choose to restore the Dendrician people and home them on this world, they will of course be grateful, and over time they will request to be your vassal. But you can also, if you wish, choose to play as them, in the same way that you can choose to play as a robotic uprising or the demonic invasion. An interesting end and an interesting outcome indeed.